Well, hours after saying that it will interact with Taliban irrespective of the situation, Russia has again expressed support to Taliban, with now Russia's ambassador to Afghanistan actually praising the Taliban's conduct and saying that Kabul seems safer under Taliban than it was under Ashraf Ghani. So that's the input we are getting on Russia's reaction. Remember, Russia and China's response was watched closely on this. And sure enough, we have a clear statement coming from Russia that they are happier with Afghanistan being under the Taliban, going to the extent of saying the country is safer under the Taliban than it ever was under Ashraf Ghani. Maruf Raza joining me now, strategic affairs expert, joining me on the broadcast. Maruf, good morning. After all that we have seen so far, now of course the reactions and the response become extremely important, especially from countries like China and Russia. Russia mincing no words in saying that they are happy with this development and they are willing to engage with the Taliban. And how does that place us, Maruf? Because China and Russia seems to be welcoming this. And in terms of what Mr. Biden said yesterday, that this is a decision that the Chinese and the Russian would have actually liked America to continue draining its resources, and therefore this is the right move. So in the light of all this, Maruf, if you can help us understand the responses coming from these countries.
Well, to start with, this has been repeated again and again, but the disgraceful exit of the Americans from Afghanistan has completely altered the geostrategic equation in Afghanistan and its neighboring countries. India does not have a border with Afghanistan, but India has interests there. India is very popular with the people of Afghanistan, and it has a population of some minorities which have clearly Indian ethnic linkages. So India's interest there is well known. But most important is the fact that what is the new equation there? You see, Pakistan is a master of being the middleman and using a strategic power to play its own game of becoming relevant. In Afghanistan, in the past, Pakistan was arm-twisted by the US after 9/11 to provide the US all sorts of access for its operations there. We know the history. The fact is Pakistan's now playing the same game, but doing it for China. Because at the end of the day, Pakistan makes money out of it. Afghanistan has been a cash cow for Pakistan in a variety of ways. Most importantly, and that is not discussed enough, is the fact that the opium and drugs that come from Afghanistan, by the admission of a Pakistani writer, Aisha Siddiqa, Pakistan makes annually about $19 to $20 billion worth of money, and the army takes the bulk of it. So the drug trade is something that the army has been supportive of and now wants to control it entirely. Also, Afghanistan has a lot of other resources, and that's where Russia and China come in. China and Russia are both eyeing the mineral resources in Afghanistan, and therefore they were waiting for the US to go, though the Russian officials had said when the US announced their hasty withdrawal as rather sort of irresponsible behavior on the part of the US. To that extent, they were right. Russia has also been engaging with the Taliban in a number of ways, including organizing conferences where they got international representation to engage with the Taliban, thereby giving them respectability. So the one side of conferences for Taliban was the regular meetings in Doha with the American envoy for Afghanistan, Zilmay Khalilzad, over 18 months. And the other was conferences that Moscow had organized. Countries could send their representatives, but not in official capacity. So two of our former envoys to that region were sent to be observers there. But India's problem has always been that it has been uncertain about what position to take. So while we were engaging with the Taliban by the admission of at least one former Indian envoy to Kabul on Times Now, who has admitted to me on more than one occasion, but the fact is that they never came out openly as one of the people who could engage with the Taliban from some kind of a position of respectability and strength. After all, we built massive infrastructure there. Americans have only destroyed the infrastructure. They've destroyed the land further. And though Russians did that in the past until their withdrawal in 1979, the fact of the matter is Russia has changed a lot under Mr. Putin. And Russia now wants to be the big game maker, whether in the Middle East or in Central South Asia.
Absolutely.
Middle
Marif, the fact of the matter is the world seems divided. But for Afghanistan, you have its immediate neighborhood extending support. You have Russia, you have China, not mincing words in their official statement, saying that this is a welcome development. As you also rightly pointed out, the reasons for it is interesting as well.